the slide number 4, we talk about managing up. Everyone has bosses. Even the CEO, entrepreneur, everyone has bosses. It's just what kind of bosses. If you're a CEO of the company, your bosses is a consumer. Your bosses could be the board of directors, right? Even if you're at the top of the pyramid, you have bosses. That also means that everyone there's not top of the pyramid also have bosses. The tips of managing up is very, very important. I think that there's a lot of resources out there that focus on managing down, meaning managing people that is on your team that reports into you. But there's not a lot of resources out there that teach you how to manage your own boss. Managing up is figuring out how to be a genuine source of help to your manager. It's not sucking up. It's just trying to be helpful. And the tips I can share here is empathize with your manager, be aware of their assumptions, understand what makes your manager ticks. People on my team understands really well. If anything that violates the integrity really makes me really, really, really angry. And none of them would do that, would try to do that on purpose. People who lie, people who cheated on the Salesforce or sales numbers and all that, they know it makes me unhappy and they will never do that. And the same thing, some managers may have different styles. They may really don't like an hour meeting because in their opinion, they can get it done in 30 minutes, right? Try to adjust your style to your manager's style in a way that makes it easy for you to help them. Also, knowing the right problem to bring a problem to knowing the right way to bring a problem to your boss. Not everyone likes to be, not everyone has the same preference in understanding a problem or solution. My team has learned that before you bring a problem up to me, I want to understand what kind of solutions you have tested out. Because if not, if you bring a problem to me, I'll just look at and say, what can I do? Or what do you want me, how should we move forward from this, right? So understanding that, so when the team comes to me with problems, say, this is a problem I'm facing, I've tried X, Y, and Z, my challenge is still this, that allows me to engage in a conversation more. Lastly, disagree often with the manager, but in the respectful and productive way. I'm not sure if all of you can relate to this experience where there's always one member on the team who would just disagree with the manager or peers for every single thing that they say. They are not thoughtful in picking their battles, and there's a lot of tension they're creating. I would suggest not to do that at all. It's not a productive behavior. You're creating tensions between two people that could easily be solved by making it more productive and just having a conversation, right? There's always a way to disagree in a productive and respectful way. There's a lot of books out there. Read about it, okay? Lastly, set boundaries. At the end of the day, managers are managers, and some could be friends, some could not be friends. Don't let everything that they say or don't let everything that they do impact what you do day to day.
The next one is from Milka. Okay, interesting question. So Milka says, he's at a stage where I guess he's a bit junior, or that I'm at a stage where my opinion will not be heard, or if I give an opinion, my director might say you're too young or inexperienced, and so I need to stop talking. Do you have any suggestions other than leaving my job?
Okay. Good question. I think a lot of people are in the same boat for that. Two pieces. Number one piece is I'm hearing that your feedback is not being heard. Second piece is you're too young. Number one, when your feedback is not being heard, try a different way of saying the same thing to the same person. Understand what the criteria is. Understand what makes them tick, understand what they value. If the manager values about cost reduction or increased revenue, everyone has a goal within organization to do something. Personal goal, professional goal. Try to pivot whatever you're trying to pitch into the language that they care about. An example, I just shared with you the $1 million, oh sorry, X million dollars. We should check that out. X million dollars of budget I got 6 months into my first role. The reason why that landed really well is because I was able to leverage that, and I know that my manager cares about increasing the ROI and reducing the costs, right? I was able to pivot the same story into a language OKR or target that they care about, and usually it will resonate better. So, I think that the first piece of it is if people doesn't resonate to your feedback or your opinion, try a different way to see if it will land. Second is that you're too young. I personally have experienced that a lot, right? I kind of dismiss it a lot of times because that to me is a very subjective, it contains a lot of biases, right? I think what he or she is meant to say is it too young in the age? Is it lack of experience? Is it that you don't have a specific knowledge in a certain area? Or is it that I just feel like I have more experience than you? I would typically stay away from managers who always have biases like that. If you can't, try to change the perception of your managers that sometimes, and a lot of times, young people can do things better than older people. A lot of times. An example is stereotypically, technology. Who is better? Stereotypically, the younger people. Connecting on social media, TikTok. Who is better? Younger people. Video games. 65-year-old, 80 years old, or 14 years old. Who is better? Younger people, right? So the perception of younger people are not as good is absolutely wrong. We need to change the perceptions of the people they're working with, that young people also have skill set to bring to the table. And it's not good or bad. It's just different, and the company needs it too. I hope that helps. So let me summarize that. Is changing the perception on, number one, is the way that you communicate it. Number two is changing the perception of the other people that young is sometimes better too.